Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to Spinistry Live. I am your race host, Kevin Lee. Today we're going to talk about our upcoming AC Adventure Weekend #2 for Club Spinistry members exclusively. We're really looking forward to this one. We're partnering up with our friends at 4R Ranch Vineyards and Winery and overnighting there on Saturday night. So we're going to give a quick overview of the route we have planned, but also talk about some of the alternates that could be available depending on how folks are feeling, how resupply is going to work and support and all that good stuff. First off, we'll kind of give an overview of what an AC Adventure Weekend is for folks that aren't familiar with them. We're going to try to squeeze in as many of these as viable when it is practical, particularly in the summer heat. That's what the concept is built around. We want folks to be able to do point-to-point riding and adventure riding, even when it gets up towards 100 degrees in Texas, like we're supposed to do this weekend. So this is definitely what AC Adventure Weekends are built around. The gist of it is this: we provide a recommended route. It's completely optional. If folks want to do their own thing and pedal from point A to point B and create their own route, they're more than welcome to. But we'll give a recommended route. Generally about 50 miles each day is kind of what we shoot for. We typically don't make these the hardest routes in the world, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're completely easy either. We're not building it to be the most challenging, like some of our traditional Spinistry routes, I guess is the best way to explain that. But particularly like this one's up in the Red River Valley, between Gainesville and Munster. There's no way for this one to be completely flat, but we take away some of the bigger features. Like we won't be doing the climb up Windmill Hill, not as part of the route. If somebody wants to do that on their own, they're welcome to. We won't be going down into the big Red River Valley area and up the big climb on the other side of that like we have with some of our events. That said, there will be some challenges along the route, but at 50 miles per day, pretty much you can pace yourself. And so the idea is we'll be starting at a common staging and parking area that we're approved for weekend parking in Gainesville, just off the interstate. Pedal to 4R Ranch on Saturday. We'll spend the afternoon at the ranch, at the winery. Check out the campgrounds if you want to. But we also, and what makes this an AC adventure, is that we have air-conditioned overnight accommodations available. They are extremely limited. It's a nice guest house on the property, 3-bedroom, 2-bath guest house with full kitchen, laundry room, couple of bathrooms and showers, a nice common family area sort of setting. But there's also a nice campground there. So if you're wanting to be a little bit more economical, and I do apologize, I do have a whining dog that she needs to shush. Dixie, that's enough of that. She's behind the gate in the kitchen and not liking that. There is tent camping available as well. For those that might want to save a few shekels. But something I want to explain. These AC Adventure Weekends are specifically Club Spinistry member benefits. It's only available if you have a Club Spinistry membership. And these are not profit makers for us. Basically, we take our costs for the weekend and divide it out among the people that are participating. And it's just a pool for the cost, or what we hope for. So we kind of run the numbers. It's like, well, we should probably be able to get this many people to do this. So we set the pricing accordingly. And if we come up a little bit short one weekend, that's okay. We'll get an extra registration maybe another weekend, and that kind of makes up the difference. And we do have our costs because we are running rolling support. We'll go out in front of everybody in the Spinistry mobile and have a rolling water table. That does mean there is retrieval and SAG available for the club members if something happens. We can come pick you up on course and shuttle you back to 4R Ranch or back to the staging area or whatever along those lines. So let me kind of give you a quick overview of what's available and waiting on us at 4R Ranch. If anyone hasn't been there before, this is the main driveway in. This house right in the middle is Chris Roper's house. But over here on the left, as you come in the front gate, this little house on the left here, that's our air-conditioned accommodations. That's the guest house there. That's where we'll be staying if you sign up for the guest house slot. And there are, as I speak on the live cast here, we do have, I think, 2, maybe 3 of those spots left. But that'll also vary depending upon gender as far as who signs up when, sort of thing. We basically have 3 bedrooms that we can divide people among, but we aren't necessarily going to, we're going to try to keep the bedding gender segregated. And it's possible some folks might end up with a room all to themselves in a double bed. Not a bad thing. So up here on the left, that's the guest house. Across the driveway over here on the right, you just see the corner of it. And this is the old barn which supports the camping area. So there's showers in here, and on the other, basically on the other side of this barn, and between the barn and this pole shed over here is a whole camping area along what they call Camp Creek. So it's a really nice camping area. There's warm showers there. There's a vault toilet, campfire ring, very pretty shaded spot. So the camping is excellent there as well, the traditional tent camping. So that's our destination for the weekend. Here's an overview. There's Chris's house again. There's another big house over here that is Walt and Nicole's house. And then up here at the top of the ridge is the tasting room. And as you can tell, there's some amazing views of the Red River Valley from the tasting room. If you have not been out to 4R Ranch, this property is absolutely amazing. There's Willem, the winemaker. Obviously, you don't have to drink wines, but you're at a very fine winery with excellent wines, and Willem does a fantastic job. Here's the deck view from the tasting room. Yes, we will be there for the sunset Saturday evening. I can assure you of that. And there's a description of the guest or the Gast house, etc., etc., etc. All right, so that's the quick overview of our Saturday afternoon, evening destination point. And shortly here, we'll go over a map that kind of explains how we're going to get there from Gainesville and how staging and parking and all that is going to work as well. Part of the support service, we haul all your gear for you, so you don't have to bike pack your gear. Now, if you want to, you're more than welcome to. If you want to load the bags and roll a heavy bike, you're more than welcome to. If you just want to pedal your bike from point A to point B, we'll haul the gear. We'll haul your gear from staging to 4R Ranch for you. We will also be hauling a big old cooler of beer from our buddies at Bell's Brewing. So as we're sitting around in the afternoon getting ready to go up to the tasting room, if you need a cold beer, we'll have one available for you there. And we can't say that we're providing meals with the weekend. That doesn't line up with requirements for health code and taxes and things like that. But I will say this. We will be cooking for ourselves Saturday night and Sunday morning, and anybody in the area that we overcook. So anybody that wants to, hang out with us and eat our extras and eat our leftovers, you're more than welcome to. That said, we will have an extra cooler to haul food and things like that. So if you want to pack your own food, we'll carry that for you as well. You're welcome to use the kitchen to cook it, prepare it, things like that. Even if you are tent camping, you're welcome to come in the kitchen and prepare your food. That's not a problem. But we will have plenty of leftovers Saturday night from what we prepare for ourselves. And most likely Sunday morning for breakfast as well. We should have plenty of leftovers. Obviously, we're not on any special diet restrictions or anything like that. So if you do have very specific dietary needs, you might want to make sure we carry your food for you. There will be opportunities for you to stop along the way and get some things as well. And we'll get into that. We'll get into that shortly. If you're watching the live cast here, I usually bring this up at the front end of the live cast, and I haven't today. If you are watching our live cast at the moment, I'm not able to see the real-time comments as they come up. If you're watching the live cast and want to bring up a point or have a question, feel free to send an email to spinistry@gmail.com. I think I say that. I'm not sure what I did with my phone. Usually I have it right next to me. I'll probably still hear it go off. Usually nobody sends an email, though. Or definitely post a comment, and after I shut down the live cast, I'll see the updates on the comments. I'll be able to respond to them at that time. Let's go ahead and look at the map, and this is what we currently have penciled in and planned. If we get feedback from people that, hey, that's too much mileage, give us something shorter, we definitely have an easy way to shorten this up either day or both days. Or if somebody wants more of a challenge and needs some mileage, let me know. I can definitely tack on mileage to either day here. Again, this is kind of set up for roughly 50-mile days, 101.4 miles for the total loop. Again, staging here on the east end in Gainesville and overnighting here at 4R Ranch. I should probably add a point of interest there reflecting the guest house and the camping area and things like that. And let's go ahead and zoom in on this. So this is our staging area. It's actually the old Outlets Mall north of Gainesville, just below the Red River. I'll give you a satellite view here. So huge parking lot here, but that's not where we're going to be. On the south end of the Outlets Mall, there's some RV parking here. So we have permission to park overnight in the RV spots Saturday night. So we'll gather up early Saturday morning. The plan is currently to be rolling by 8:30. Meet up at 8, rolling by 8:30. And that's the plan, basically, to stay ahead of the heat. Now, we're a small crew. We're a small group. If the general consensus is we want to start later than that, we can be flexible along those lines. But again, the idea of the weekend is to stay out of the 100-degree heat as much as possible and still get enjoyable bike riding weekend in. So we will park here. Now we'll switch back to regular map. There's also a Cracker Barrel up here. There's a Hampton Inn Hotel if you need to stay Friday night. Again, easy access from the interstate. And we're going to go this way out of Gainesville. Basically, we're going to do the south end of the loop. And this will be some new dirt roads that most of our riders haven't seen before, just outside of Gainesville. A little bit of pavement here, and then come down through Lindsay. And at about mile 10, we go through our first town. There is a convenience store over here if needed. Realistically, most people probably at mile 10 won't need a stop already, but just in case, if you need that last cup of coffee or something like that, we will have a convenience store here. My current plan is to have the Spinistry Mobile about mile 20 with a rolling water table to meet everybody here. And it's a nice chance for everybody to regroup if they want to and kind of stay together. The last AC weekend that we had, it worked out pretty well that even people that were riding different paces, it's not a race or anything like that. So, the the convenience stores and the rolling water table and things like that. Gave everybody a chance to kind of regroup and check in on each other. I think it really helps with the social dynamic overall. So about mile 20, we'll have a rolling water table there. Keep an eye on everyone. The way it's routed now, around mile 27, 28, roll in through the south end of Munster. There's a quick store here. If somebody needs to go into town, Fisher's Grocery is nearby as well. So if you need a little bit more selection or you want something special from Fisher's, just make a minor detour into downtown Munster and catch Fisher's there. And then we wind into St. Joe at about mile 39. There is a Dairy Queen here. There's a convenience store here called the Gas Station. And there may or may not, I've lost track, this Panther Pit Stop, I know it was closed. I think it may be open again as a convenience store, but I'm not positive of that. Now, something I do want to highlight. So that's about 39 miles in. Let's do a quick satellite view. And something I want to highlight a little bit. It doesn't reflect it as much as I'd like. But once we get outside of Munster and about into this area here, there is a lot of shade, and it is wooded quite a bit on into St. Joe. So it's getting a little bit later. There you can see a lot of the tree line there. It is getting a little bit later in the morning for folks at this point. The heat is starting to come on. But I do want to let you know that between Munster and St. Joe, there's a good bit of shade, and then a nice stop at St. Joe with maybe a little over 10 miles left to go. But I'll show you the best part of that 10 miles here shortly. And plenty of just hang out and cool down opportunity in St. Joe. Maybe check out the town square. Obviously, stop by Dairy Queen and get an ice cream if you like. Again, this is about an enjoyable weekend on the bike. This is not a race by any stretch of the imagination. So we're about here, which is also about the top of the hill. Now, it's been a gradual climb all morning long, but nothing serious. But then basically from St. Joe on, kind of levels out. And then we have a nice big downhill to kind of finish things off here. And then we'll roll into 4R Ranch. 54 miles in is what it's saying, to the guest house or to the camping area. We'll look at the satellite view on this. Yep, there's the guest house there. There's the access to the camping area. There's the warm water showers. And I'm zooming in just to. Sometimes these overheads on Ride with GPS and Google Maps, and sometimes they pick us up from our previous trips there. So this is an updated map. That doesn't look like any of our vehicles. That might be written. No, I don't think that's any of our vehicles. Last time that I looked at this, it actually had a picture that had my vehicle and Scott Holmes' truck here, and that was kind of cool. On a day Scott and I were just kind of chatting about some stuff at the camping area. A really cool one, sidebar, the Texas Chainring Massacre a few years ago, that Lance Armstrong made it out to. When you did the satellite imagery for the Valley View area for the next year or so after that, evidently the aerials or the satellite shots were picking up our Texas Chainring Massacre. So you saw all of our riders out on the course. You saw the town square hopping, the parking area full, and all that. That was kind of cool, actually. So that's day one, approximately 54 miles. Nice downhill finish. So that really shortens up that 54 miles a good bit there. You have that nice Dairy Queen stop about mile 39, shaded between Munster and St. Joe. So that's day one. and then we overnight at the guest house in the camping area, hang out at the tasting room through the evening. Again, you're welcome to partake in any leftovers we have from the massive amounts of food we'll be preparing for ourselves Saturday evening, etc., etc., etc. Sunday, we'll double back in the morning and then head out this way. Sunday, we won't have the convenience stores. This will be a more remote route. But if needed, and we can talk about it Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening, see how everyone's feeling. I can realistically, we can probably have the rolling water table here at Cap's Corner if needed, about 12 miles in. I already know we'll do it here about 20 miles in. And again, there's no amenities or convenience store. One decent climb. I think the elevation profile on this is incorrect. I don't recall that being that steep over that short a duration. I think the overall climb may be that much, but it's more gradual than that. There's not a drastic climb through here. And then our current plan is at mile 91-ish for the day. Pull into Moss Lake here, and we'll have and this is with about 10 miles to go. Pull into Moss Lake here and have a little swim time. There's a boat landing and a beach area right here. I have not been swimming in Moss Lake myself. I have driven by it many, many, many times. It's a very, very pretty lake. It's not the typical Texas brown water lake. It's fed by Fish Creek, which I think is spring fed. I'm not 100% certain of that, but it's a very nice lake. So that should be a nice way to cool off after 35 miles or so. Yeah, about 35 miles. And then we go from there. And I think we're actually done with dirt roads at this point. It'll just be a nice pedal on into Gainesville after splashing around in Moss Lake. Finish back up at the RV camping area. We'll have a hose and shower nozzle hooked up here so you can rinse off one more time, gather up in your cars, and all that good stuff. So that's currently the overview for the weekend route. Now, I do want to point out a couple things. Again, that's planned for 50-mile days, but it is very simple to truncate these as well. An example would be on day one, you could easily roll into Munster and then cut off this whole corner here and then just make your way to 4R going down Windmill Hill. That would probably chop a good 10, 12 miles off the route on day one if needed. In turn, if you needed more mileage, just let me know. I can give you plenty of stuff further out from St. Joe, or even have you double back in here and things like that. So if you need additional mileage on day one, we can make that happen. Day two, if you were wanting to shorten it up, you would want to know that fairly early in the process, but it is still rather simple to do. A couple ways you could do it to cut off, let's see, from 59, you could cut off roughly 10 miles here. And instead of doing this far west end loop, just catch the farm to market road here and make your way. That'll cut about 10 miles off there. And so that will turn it into what, a 27, 28 mile day. Again, if you want to add more to it, that's actually extremely easy to do on this day. We can go up into Marysville and back down. That will add mileage there. If you want to throw some climbing in, you can do the Cattle Valley loop here. That'll have a big descent and a corresponding big climb. If you're feeling adventurous, you can go down into Seville's Bend and look at some of this stuff as well. So again, adding mileage is not an issue. Subtracting mileage is not an issue by any means. But we kind of build it around 50-mile days, and that's the rough draft. I know a lot of people go 50 miles a day. If I'm going to do a bicycle adventure weekend, I really want to do more than that. I want to do 100-mile days, 150-mile days. You'll be surprised, particularly in the heat, and with cold beer and wine views and all that good stuff waiting on you. 50-mile days that's a nice day on the bike. There's nothing wrong with that, especially on a back-to-back basis. You put two of those together, that's a good weekend of riding. I just want to do a quick overview of our current weather forecast. 99, 100-degree highs, lows in the high 70s, winds around 10 miles an hour, so not bad winds. That's nice, but definitely going to be a warm one. Cooling down in the air conditioning overnight, Saturday night. I think that's a preferable way to spend the weekend. But if you want to tent camp, we have excellent facilities for you there as well. That said, tent campers they're welcome to use the kitchen in the guest house to prepare food. They are even welcome to there's a washer and dryer in there if you need to wash clothes. You're welcome to hang out in the guest house with us as we're socializing. Good chance though that for socializing we may end up at the campfire ring. That's not uncommon at all. And then to wrap things up one more time, again, these AC Adventure weekends are meant as an additional benefit for Club Spinistry membership. We want more Club Spinistry members. Basically, $75 a year for the traditional membership gets you discounts on all of the Spinistry events, usually at least 25%, sometimes 50%, and sometimes even qualifies you for free events. But the thing that we're really going to be doing, making a big push for, a big focus on going forward, are the adventure type weekends, the point-to-point weekends, the things that it's not practical for us to try to get 200 people to show up for. It's more like maybe 8, 10, or 12. More intimate, but more of an adventure, more point-to-point type stuff. And these will be member-only type events is the idea. And again, the events themselves aren't money makers for us. We're just wanting to cover our costs on them. We just want this to be an additional benefit for your Club Spinistry membership. So if you've been on the fence for some Club Spinistry membership, this is a good time to go ahead and latch onto it. If you think adventure rides like this and weekends like this might be right up your alley, we have some really cool stuff that's coming up in a couple weeks in Colorado that the Club Spinistry membership will be a huge payoff for. And we'll talk about that a little bit more probably tomorrow or the next day. Some details on the Colorado adventure options in the coming weeks. But if you have any questions, again, spinistry@gmail.com, or leave comments here. We're going to go ahead and sign off now, finish my coffee for the morning. And again, we have a couple of air-conditioned spots left for this weekend. Go ahead and tie them down, and we'll see everyone Saturday morning in Gainesville.